Welcome to session 11. Now I have to warn you, this is a strange session. It's strange in that I'm combining two topics in one session, but dividing them very distinctly. Separately, they are not as long as previous sessions, but together they approach the previous lengths. Therefore, I've provided two videos and two written lectures with references. I chose to cut it in half because I think it will be easier for you to read and or watch, and also easier for you to understand. The first topic is on conducting and participating in wage and benefit surveys. I referred to those in the previous session. Where do we stand in the marketplace? Are we competitive? Are we in danger of losing our best employees due to low salaries? Or are we paying too much? Well, you can't answer any of those questions with any certainty unless you know where the outside market stands. It's like saying the price you pay for ice cream at Harris Teeter is a great deal without knowing what the price is at Food Lion or Lowe's Foods or Sam's Club. What is the market price of ice cream? Incidentally, there is no bad price for ice cream. Ice cream is good regardless of the price. That's just my opinion. What is the market price for engineers? What are accountants going for in the marketplace? What is the price for HR generalists in the marketplace, etc.? Now, we determine this through surveys, and we will discuss in this session how to obtain that information. The second topic involves building a pay structure, including pay grades. We will first discuss how the survey data relates to building those grades, and then highlight the computations that enable us to develop a workable structure. It looks complicated, but it's really easy once you get started, and then you just repeat the computations for each grade. Once again, I have many website references to help you understand and to explain some of the basics. Read and study them, but I believe you will not find any of the references unduly long or unduly complex. I think they clarify things. Also, once again, let me know if you start feeling lost or disoriented. So off we go to explore pay surveys and pay structures. And off I go to get some ice cream. You see, the power of suggestion also creates a need. Welcome to session 11, the section on surveys. Now, my last statement in session 10 was, quote, "With this example, it should be obvious that the first step in determining where to make our stand in the battle for the buck is to determine our comparison to the outside market, both in terms of where we stand and also the market, where the market is going for the current year. For S&C, we need to know where our competitors in the labor market stand with comparison to us. How much do they pay their electronic technicians? How much do they pay their carpenters? These are valued positions within our company. Are we in danger of losing these valuable employees to competitors due to low pay? Are we paying too much when compared to the marketplace? Remember, I said in a previous session that compensation information has always been somewhat secretive. The internet has changed some of that, and it is easier to obtain pay data as an individual, but it is still considered proprietary information. The secretiveness is not entirely due to an organization's evil intent to keep employees captive. Much of the confidentiality surrounding pay information is for your own protection. Organizations are legally and ethically responsible to protect your private information, and pay is a large part of that privacy. For that reason, surveys never request specific individual information, nor is such information released. Survey pay data is always expressed as an average or a median rate paid for the job if it is a position with several incumbents, or a range midpoint, and we'll explain what that is later, if there is only one incumbent in that position. So if it's a secret, how do we find out what the rest of the compensation world is doing? Well, specifically, how do we find out what our local labor market competitors and our product or service market competitors are doing? After all, we need to be concerned about our competition. You see, if we are located in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're looking for forklift drivers, we don't really care what forklift drivers are paid in San Francisco. But on the other hand, if we are located in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we are looking at marketing managers, pay in San Francisco may very well be relevant. Comparative labor market data is both job specific and location specific. And there are two methods that open those closed doors: networking and surveys. Let's cover networking first. And I doubt that you will find this information in very many textbooks, but it does happen in the real world, and you should know about it, and it is an important source of information. Friends tell friends secrets. Friends share. Now, you can't go crazy with this sharing because there are legal and ethical pitfalls as well. Some years ago, the courts ruled that exchanging pay data violates antitrust laws. And if you exchange exact data, there would be little doubt of a violation. However, HR professionals continue to contact counterparts in the industry and local community to discuss pay information in general. There is no doubt that sharing information related to compensation can be helpful to all organizations involved. This is particularly true locally. And I would argue that such sharing helps employees as well. It provides incentive for organizations to keep up with the Joneses, as we discussed earlier. And that labor market competition is good for employees. Let me give you an example. When I started working for Nestle, I found that there were no HR groups in the Danville, Virginia area. I found that particularly distasteful in that I had no resources with which to share information and to understand the local community better. And every community is different. Well, I contacted several companies and HR professionals in the area and eventually started a local HR group that met monthly. We shared information about local issues, new and innovative programs, acted as HR advocates to the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Commission, etc. We also shared compensation information such as our projected annual increase percentage, average pay rates for scarce and skilled positions, potential compensation problems, and other things. This was useful information and helped us all develop and maintain our base pay and incentive programs. Networking also extends to regional and national areas. It even extends to some competitors within the industry, although that networking is certainly more guarded. This activity was illustrated when I worked for RCA Corporation. At one time, I was the manager of compensation for RCA Consumer Electronics Division. We manufactured and sold RCA color televisions. I developed and maintained our compensation systems and also monitored our position within the competitive regional and national labor market. At that time in history, there were several television manufacturers: Zenith, Westinghouse, Motorola, Magnavox, RCA, and many more. I had personal contacts in each of our competitors, and we from time to time shared information. We at RCA were considered leaders in compensation and conducted annual pay and benefit surveys and included our competitors so that all of us could determine the nature of the competitive labor market. In addition to the survey, I could call upon my contacts and ask, for example, I have a new engineer position in one of our facilities. Do you have any similar positions? And if so, what is the mean or median pay for such a position? Sometimes I got an answer, and sometimes I didn't. But asking such questions was very much accepted. In short, building relationships and sharing information, even with competitors, is considered appropriate in the real world. However, that is not true across the board. At Nestle, I didn't really share information with competitors. They didn't ask, and neither did I. I didn't need it. The information just wasn't as important in that business. At the Noel Group, I shared some information with competitors, but not a great deal. Again, the information wasn't as important in that business, particularly when it came to our business competitors. However, in all of those organizations, I consistently participated in national and regional wage and benefit surveys and routinely shared data with local organizations. Networking is a function of building relationships. From a local perspective, I would not share information with an organization with which I had no knowledge or relationship with someone in the company. It's kind of like anything else in life. I'll loan you my lawnmower if I know you, but not if you just live on the same street and we've never spoken. I need to know that you are not going to use my lawnmower inappropriately or loan it to everyone else in your family. Same is true of sharing compensation information. The second method of collecting market data is salary and wage surveys. Part of the secrecy surrounding compensation has been diminished, as I said, through the proliferation of online surveys. You can now go to the internet and find surveys that will tell you how much your job should be making in terms of pay and other amenities. Can you trust these surveys? Well, of course. You can believe everything that you read on the internet, right? Obviously, some are suspect and some are legitimate. The trick is finding out which is which. Now, I certainly wouldn't stake my job on the fact that I should be making more money according to an internet survey. Why am I so skeptical? Well, the reliability and validity of survey data is based largely on job match. If I'm a human resource specialist and use online data to determine if I am being paid properly, I must first determine the job match. How close does the online job match the duties and responsibilities of my job? Let's pick a job of human resource specialist, and let's pick a website to do some salary research and comparison. On this website, I enter the title of Human Resource Specialist in Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you can go to the website, please do so and follow along. And I'm presented with a list of jobs and descriptions for each position. I see Employee Relations Specialist 1. I see Human Resource Generalist 1. I see Human Resource Generalist 2, and so on. If I compare these positions, I find a job description for each which I could compare to my job. If I choose Employee Relations Specialist 1, which requires 0 to 2 years of experience, the median salary is listed as $48,149. If I choose Human Resource Generalist 1, which requires 0 to 3 years of experience, the median salary is listed as $49,178. That's really pretty close. And this site offers a lot of comparative information with their job descriptions so we can match the jobs correctly, as opposed to the next site, which is a career builder site. When I enter Human Resource Specialist in the same location, I'm given $45,188, but have little information other than the title to ensure the match is correct. Is a human resource specialist position doing more in my organization, or are they doing less? How important is this position to the organization? That affects the salary as well. The second site says that the $45,188 is 21% below the national average. And if you figure that out, that means the national average must equate to $54,677. Now that's a big difference from the first survey. But where does this data come from? As you can see, this data provides a point of discussion, but in no way determines if the position of human resource specialist is over or underpaid in our organization. What are the job responsibilities of the position listed in the survey? You see, there's much information that is absent from this second source. There are international, national, and regional surveys that are used extensively by HR professionals. and have proven to be reliable and stable over time. It is a little like our discussion of reliability and validity related to selection. Is a survey reliable over time and is it valid? Meaning that it covers the right jobs in a way that can garner valid comparisons to most similar jobs in most organizations? You can develop and conduct your own survey, but it is often difficult to get other organizations to participate unless your company is very well known. However, conducting your own survey works well if you are focusing on the local labor market. National and regional surveys provide limited data on local markets. My normal practice was to conduct at least one local survey each year and perhaps also participate in one additional local survey. That gave me at least 2 reference points to define the local labor market. In addition, I purchased 1 or 2 national and regional surveys each year to collect information on salaried, professional, and managerial positions. I speak of such surveys as collecting wage information, but they also collect data on benefits and company policies. Local surveys may include questions pertaining to pay, benefits such as health care, life insurance, vacation, etc. And local surveys may include the aforementioned data, but also questions related to shift hours and safety programs and other local facility and business practices. So what is a salary survey? Well, the following website answers that question and also provides some tips to help choose a salary survey in which to participate. This site is great in that it not only describes what a salary survey is and what it looks like, it also provides guidelines about how to choose the right survey and how to participate in a survey. Don't spend too much time on the survey websites that they list as examples, and that most of those lead to a dead end, except for the BLS surveys, and you might want to take a look at those. They're very interesting. Other than that, this website is well worth spending some time reading and studying. These guidelines are important because although many organizations conduct surveys as a part of their business and either sell the results or provide results for free in exchange for participating in the survey, not all surveys will fit your needs and are reliable for you. The following website also provides guidance as to choosing a compensation survey for purchase or participation. This is the website on small business advice. As with the previous site, this website provides some valuable information and guidelines as to defining a survey, choosing a survey, and understanding how data is collected. It also bears careful study. Many of these surveys are very reliable and provide current comparison by job and comparison data from a historical perspective, since they've been conducting these surveys for several years. This expertise also provides credibility for non-HR people when making the argument for a compensation share of the scarce resource called money. If you can say X, Y, and Z survey says that we are paying 4% below market in these jobs, and the source is a recognizable entity, your chances of winning the battle for the buck are enhanced. Once again, you can choose to participate in a survey already conducted on a regular basis, or you can choose to conduct your own survey. As I've said, I've used both methods and generally conduct local surveys myself and either purchase or participate in regional or national surveys. Generally, you can purchase surveys for a fee, or some will waive the fee if you participate by providing your own company data in the survey. Or some of them will just charge less of a fee with participation than charge to companies who don't participate. The advantages of participating in a survey that is already established are it's less time consuming, it's less work, there's more data comparisons, particularly on a historical perspective, and there's a wider range of participating organizations. Sometimes they run into the hundreds. The disadvantages include less personalized data, the difficulty in determining the appropriate job match, it's less granular data, particularly on the local basis, and it's more expensive. And obviously, Conducting your own survey is less expensive, more time consuming, and more difficult to get large numbers of diverse participants. So how do we develop and conduct our own survey? The following website also details steps and considerations as to how to develop and conduct a survey of your own. It's pretty basic, but really defines many considerations and cautions when starting the survey process. It also points out, by reading between the lines, that conducting a salary survey is no small project. Now, the following two websites merely provide an example of two very complex surveys from two very different industries. I provide them merely to offer an example of what the finished product may look like in some of the commercial surveys that you can purchase. Don't spend a lot of time reading these, but just take a quick look at how the salary data is presented in particular. And you'll have to scroll through several pages to find the salary data. It gives you an idea of what we are talking about. And note that both of these surveys were conducted by the Hay Associates, which I mentioned earlier has such a great reputation in terms of providing salary data information. Now that we understand surveys and networking, let's briefly recap before we continue. We've discussed job analysis, which is analyzing our internal jobs and documenting what people do. This documentation, or job description, allows us to put a value to each job, and that's called job evaluation. Once we understand what our people do and how we value those combinations of tasks called jobs, we compare those jobs to the outside market to determine if we are paying properly or if our pay is out of line with the going rate for the jobs. This comparison is called market analysis. Our website defining the 7 steps to creating a base pay program that we mentioned in a previous session defines market analysis thusly, and it serves as a good summary for this session. I quote, market analysis, identification of benchmark jobs to survey in the job market is a key step in a market analysis process. Benchmark jobs are easily identified in the marketplace for pay comparisons and reflect a good representation of positions within the organization, both vertically and horizontally. Examples of vertical representation may be accountant, senior accountant, and accounting supervisor. Horizontal representations may include jobs by functions such as engineering and accounting and HR, etc. Many companies participate in salary surveys conducted by third-party consulting firms which collect average salaries and business and bonuses paid in the generic survey benchmark jobs. Also provided are results on overall pay practices. Survey results are usually displayed by all companies, industry, location, and size. Specialized cuts of survey results may be requested, showing aggregate information by competitor organizations. Companies are able to use the salary survey results in determining the competitiveness of salaries paid to employees in their company. With this information in hand, we can now go about the business of either developing new salary structures and grades or analyzing our existing structures. But let's explore building a new salary structure in the next part.